Hello everyone, I welcome you to today's lecture. This is lecture number 5 and today we'll be going to start off with the second chapter under the module 1. Right, so in the previous lectures we discussed about a program, a simple program, and we decided the byline, understanding the overall stepwise execution of the program. Right, so we executed the program in a flow and we understood how each instructions or the expressions that we are giving the program is getting executed. So in today's lecture, we will be understanding what types of flow controls that we can have when we talk about those execution steps. So in our previous program, if you remember, we had stepwise execution line by line. Each line was executed and the next line is executed after the previous one gets completed. Right? And likewise, the complete flow of the program was in a linear fashion, you can say. But it is not necessary that all the program has to be in a linear fashion. All the programs has to be executed in a linear fashion. We can have different flows, but to obtain those different flow or to obtain that variety in the flow of the execution, we need to have some kind of controls over it. Right. So today we'll be discussing how those controls can be established using what all available operators or other things that are available to us, right? So with respect to Python, is that we are going to discuss the flow control in a simple Python program. So having said this, let's quickly go and understand what is a flow control statement itself, right? So as the name suggests, the flow control statement, it is a statement that helps us to decide which Python instructions to be executed under which condition. So you must have all encountered this term called statements, right? Conditional statements and all. So what are these statements? So basically, this flow control statements will allow us to have different flow or a variety in the flow while executing the program, right? So this can be basically what happens when we are executing a particular program. Few instructions can be skipped and jumped on to a particular expression and execute that, and maybe if it required, the flow can be repeated, right? So there are different approach to it, different flow controls that we have. So let's move on to discuss upon how this flow control can happen. So here an example, here is a flow chart to tell what to do if it is a raining. Let's say an example we are taking that it is raining, right? So how are we going to take our decision? What will be our flow of our decision, right? So let's say we have this program. Let's say it's like you all know the notations of the flow chart. The round oval, you can say it is denotation of a start or it can be end. The rhombus shaped are for the decisions and the rectangular shapes are the uh, instruction, the actions, right? So having said that, when we start, let's say we are having a flow control on the uh, decision to make when it is raining, right? So it is raining, right? And we have to make a decision. Is it, uh, first of all, is it raining? Is raining? Yes. If it is raining, if it is yes, then do you have an umbrella? Again, it's a decisional statement. No or yes. You can have only two conditional statement. I mean, two answer for that, right? It's a Boolean value, you can say. So if it is raining, if it is not raining, of course, you go outside and we are done, right? If it is No, if it is not raining, we go outside and we complete. There's no decision to it. There's no flow much to it, right? If let's say if it is raining, yes, and then the next question arises: do you have umbrella? If it is yes, then go outside definitely. If no, again wait for a while. Now this is again an action. Waiting is again an action, right? So we wait for a while. Again we ask the same question: is it raining? If it is no, then go outside. If it is yes, then again wait for a while, and so on. It went into a loop, right? And once it reaches that the ultimate decision, when whether it stops raining or whether you got an umbrella, right? So when it is not raining, when ultimately you end up going outside, the flow ends. So this is very simple example to demonstrate the flow, right? How a flow can be carried out. Now this can be obtained with a few Boolean values, right? So like we discussed in the flow, like I mentioned that a conditional statement can result into two values, that is which is represented as Boolean values, which can be only true or false, right? And the Boolean data type, this particular Boolean data type has only two values, that is true or false. Here is a simple example wherein we are going to assign a true value. This true value was, let's say, any random variable spam, in our case spam. So when you display this, you get true. Let me open our Python IDE and see how this program can get executed when we type it in our interactive shell. So let's say, yes, let's say I give spam itself as the folder name and I give true, right? So as you can see, the word true has been highlighted. That means it is a predefined keyword. It's a keyword and which cannot be used for any general purpose, right? It's a keyword. So once this true value has been assigned to spam, and once I enter, and when I ask for printing the spam or just enter the spam, it gives me the value true again. Right? Now, let's say I give just true, right? Let's say I just give true, and it throws me an error that true is not defined. Why? Because we have never assigned it, we have never defined it. Because when we assign any value to any particular variable, uh, that particular time at the same time the variable is also get defined as well as assigned. So now let's say we have assigned spam is equal to true, but as you can see, the name true is not defined again, right? The reason being that it is not a the true keyword is not defined as it was expected. Fine. Simple example what we have seen again here. You can see that two plus two. Now, of course, there is a syntax error because assignment to a keyword. True is a keyword, right? And we cannot assign it. It is predefined. So here in the comparison operator, you can see this these Boolean values. Uh, how these Boolean values can be computed using some operators. So here we have few comparison operators which compare two values, and they ultimately evaluate down to a single value. That's a Boolean value, whether it can be true or it can be false. So these are very basic operators which you might already knew. Double equal to, which stands for equal to, not equal to, that is exclamation and equal to operator. Then less than sign, greater than sign, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and so on. Right? So these are simple comparison operators, and here is a simple example demonstrated. So when you say 42 equal to 42, of course it is true, right? So let me show you this in the shell, right? So when you say 42 equal to 42, you must be getting an error, then it cannot assign to a literal because we are assigning it, right? So when you say 42 double equal to 42, That means we are comparing it. This is a comparison operator. Double sign is a comparison operator. It means these two literals are getting compared, these two values are getting compared using the comparison operator here, and the result of which, that is a Boolean value, is displayed here. It can be false or it can be true. In our case, 42 is equal to, definitely equal to 42, right? So just to give a random, any random answer, so we have entered the addition. Let's say 34 equal to double equal to something. So it's a false. Right? So 34 may be not equal to some random variable, some random number. So it is not equal to 42. It's exactly 2, right? A simple example just to demonstrate what it is. Fine. So moving ahead, let's say we have this example, like we are defining 42, which is, let's say, equal to 42 into single quote. Now, I hope by this time you are already aware of what is the difference between this 42 and this 42, right? So, I hope you all agree to it that this is an integer 42 and this is actually a string 42. So, they are actually not equal. We are comparing a string to an integer. So, let's hit enter and see we get false, because though we may look it as numbers 42, but since this 42 has been into a single quote, it represents a string and hence it's a false. Now the Python considers the integer 42 to be different from the string 42, definitely, right? Moving ahead, the Boolean operators, what kind of different Boolean operators that we have? The binary Boolean operators, that are the and the or operators, they always take two Boolean values, right? Whatever, I mean, if you can recall the truth tables for and operator and or operator, then you can observe that every time we have given two inputs and we have got a single output, right? The Boolean operators have evaluated to a single value at the end, right? So here is a simple example like true and true. So let us give this value here and see, like let's say true, and we use an and operator, and you can see that and is also getting converted into a different color. That means it is a keyword, pre-existing, predefined keyword. So we have all three keywords, true and, because and is an operator, the Boolean operator, and again true, which is a Boolean value, right? Now, but when I hit enter, as you can see, it gives me truth, true, right? And let's say I give true or, let's say I give or, and you can see or is getting converted into red color, which means it's a keyword, or false. So I think you know the answer, that true or false, the answer will always be true, because we are making use of an or operator. So any one of them, if it is true, the answer will be true, right? So these are the simple, the simple operations that has been done. That is true and true gives you true, of course, and true and false will give you false, because in case of and, both the values has to be uh, true, right? Both the condition has to be satisfied, both has to be true in order to the result to be true. But since we have one false here, which makes this whole and operation as false, we have the Boolean value as false. Now here's a simple truth table for an on operator, and operator. So with the expressions as like we have seen here, true and true gives us true, true and false gives us false, false and true gives us false, and false as false gives us false again. It is same as 1 and 1 gives you 1, 1 and 0 gives you 0, 0 and with 1 again gives you 0, and 0 when and with 0 again gives you 0 only, right? So this is the truth table for an AND operator. Similarly, this is the truth table for OR operator. I hope you all are now aware with this operator and what it evaluates to. So once we have OR, it is quite evident that wherever if even if we have single true, it will give us the result is true, and unless and until if both the values are false, it will not give us false. When both the values are false, it will only give us the false value. Only then it will give us the false value. Now, one exceptional is the not operator. The exception, by exception I mean that not operator, unlike the and the or operator, it works only on one Boolean value. Right? It operates only on one Boolean value. Right? For example, not of true. Right? Not of true is false. Not of false is true. And here is uh, another example given, that is not four times not of true. That is not of not, then not, and not of not, and then again not of true. So when we have, so it's basic common sense that if we have even number of nots, then it negates each other, and we get the result whatever it is. In case of odd, when we have odd number of not gates or not operators, the value which we have here will get negated, right? So for odd numbers, it will be other value, the true will get converted into false, and for even number of not, we get the same value because each every odd not is negating every even not, right? So just an example here, and here is the not truth table, not operators truth table, right? So not of true is false and not of false is true. Now, how can we mix these operators, these Boolean operators and comparison operators, to make some sense out of it, make some you know some doable task out of it, or where can we use it? So when we recall the and or and not operator, they are called the Boolean operators because they always operate on the Boolean values. That is, either they result into true or they result into false. Now, while expressing like these expressions, let's say 4 less than 5, they aren't the Boolean values, right? Like these, they aren't the Boolean values. They are expressions that evaluates down to the Boolean value, right? So the result of this expression will be a Boolean value. Let's take this example here. That is, 4 is less than, like, okay, let me show it here only. 4 is less than 5, and and operator and 5 is less than 5. So as you know, the this parenthesis will get evaluated first, and then this parenthesis, and then both will be ANDed, and the result will be shown. So 4 is less than 5, true. 5 is less than 6, true. So both are true. When ANDed, will give you true only. And 4 is less than 5, true, but 9 is less than 6 is false. And since we have an AND operator here, it will be false. Had it been an OR operator, it will be a true value. So like in this case, 1 is equal to 2, which is absolutely false. But we have an OR operator here, and then we have an operation wherein we have 2 equal to 2, which is exactly true. 2 is equal to 2, which means that this value will evaluate to a true Boolean value. True Boolean value. And this is a false. So false or true will give us true. That is 0 or 1 will give us 1 only. Right? So having said this, let us move on to having a a full-fledged you can say expression wherein, let's say, we have this expression wherein 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. We have an AND operator, we have a NOT operator, and 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. and then again and operator, and then we have an expression 2 multiplied by 2 equal to 2 plus 2. So I want you guys to put this particular expression or similar kind of expression, or let's say this expression itself, in your Python IDE if you're using a laptop or PC, then in the Python IDE in your software, or in case as I suggested you to install Python IDE mobile application, you can use this statement to execute in that particular application, and just let me know the answer for this particular statement. What will be the answer? Whether it is okay, whatever it is, I'll not give any hint. I have given simple example. It's a simple expression, and I've already given some examples just now. So I would expect you each and everywhere to give their answer here in the comment section down below. So that would also give me the idea whether you are keen in listening to these lectures, whether you are understanding these lectures, right? Are you getting benefited out of it? So I would request you to execute this particular command, this particular expression using these operators, whatever we have used in this particular expression, and tell me the answer of this expression in the comment section down below here in our YouTube channel, right? So this will be a small, you can say, a homework for you, or if you're watching this right now, you can put the, if you know the answer, or if you're doing this operation side by side at your Python ideally, you can simply put down the answer once you execute it, and let me know whether what is the value, whether we have a numerical value, whether we have any particular what whatever value. Let me not give any hint here. I've purposefully I've made this answer as blank, but I would request you to execute this command in your Python ideally and genuinely give your answer. Let it be wrong. There is no issue, not at all the issue that if you even if your answer is wrong, there will nothing be done. Don't worry about it. So all I want you to do is execute this command and let me see what answer that you get. Or even if you can note down on if you can operate manually on your those who don't have Python ideally installed in that laptop or PC, or they don't have access to Python tool, they can simply work it out on a piece of paper and let me know the answer for this expression, whether the answer, what kind of answer it is, right? What it is. So I'll not give you any kind of India. So put down the answer here in the comment section down below. So that's all for today's lecture. We'll continue up with the subsequent the topics, that is how these things, the flow control, what are the elements of this flow control and all in our subsequent lectures. So stay tuned for the coming lectures. By that time, if you have any kind of doubt, anything you want to ask, you can ask me in the comment section down below, or in our WhatsApp group, or in the Google Classroom, right? But don't forget to give me the answer for this particular question here in the comment section down below, right? So stay tuned for the coming lectures. Thank you.